Shabbat Shalom. I'm sure others will be making it in. It has been a very intriguing and powerful day, and we are so delighted that you're joining us for this interfaith service, and to so many of our religious leaders who are here with us today. So we begin our Sabbath service with our visual worship. As we turn for a piece of music, I want to just briefly, I will share with you after our first opening song some remarks, but I'm going to call upon Cantor to share a song that we'll use called Sanctuary. You'll find it on the screen above and in your books. A year ago this weekend, Rabbi Miller and I went to church. As two Southern Jews, it was not unfamiliar territory. We joined the men and women of First Baptist Church of Glenarden in Prince George's County. Reverend John Jenkins was joined by 11,000 worshipers in his 3 Sunday services. The music and prayers were uplifting, and I did not come for the music nor the prayers. That Sunday, I simply came to be present. There was no other place that I should have been, no other place where I would have wanted to worship on that Sunday morning. The morning was somber. It was the morning after the violence of Charlottesville, Virginia, where, as we know, white nationalists, white supremacists, neo-Nazis, Ku Klux Klan members, and other racist groups engaged in violence that resulted in the death of Heather Heyer. Preceded by a tiki torch march the Friday night around the synagogue, they viciously chanted anti-Semitic slurs against Jews. Nazi armbands and Nazi flags were visible in crowds as well. Hatreds of blacks and Jews reared its ugly head again. Where, this time just miles from the home of Jefferson, one of the designers of our democracy. This was done to reignite terror against black and Jew. This was not to discuss or stand for the right of a statue to remain in place or to protect history. This was rather an assault on America and America's way of life. This violence was not spontaneous, I believe, but rather premeditated. Those there for Unite the Right rally were clad in helmets, shields, and wielding baseball bats, clubs. These individuals were dressed for battle, not for peaceful demonstration. As a Jew, as an American, and simply as a human being, with moral clarity of our faith, Washington Hebrew then and now condemns such monstrous acts, and especially a murderous act that took the life of a young lady. We're equally appalled by the resurgence of bigotry and anti-Semitism that the events of Charlottesville represent. At this critical time that we stand for our beliefs and we join hands and hearts with other religious communities that are equally concerned about the welfare of our country. That's what draws us here tonight. We cannot allow such acts of hatred to define or divide our nation. The core of our Jewish faith reminds us that we were once slaves in the land of Egypt, and as such, we have no tolerance for oppression of any kind. We must act on our beliefs. Tonight is a powerful reminder of the interfaith bridges that Washington Hebrew congregation has built in the city, and we are a founding member of the IFC, the Interfaith Conference, and we have stood shoulder to shoulder with Muslims, Christians, Buddhists, Sikhs, and so many others on occasions to both celebrate our differences and to learn about our differences with respect. I respect the work of the JCRC, which preserves that effort every day, and I'm so delighted that Rabbi Jerry Serrata joins us this evening, who works tirelessly in the Interfaith Council so that we can have events like this in harmony together. Last year I went to church, so tonight so many of you come to synagogue in hope that God will lead us to do good, not evil, to spread love, not hate, that America's greatness will not be found in the violence of Charlottesville, but in the dignity of our response. We will meet hate and bigotry with love and with hope. May the words of our liturgy tonight and the songs of our hearts give us the strength and the courage to bring God's vision of a world of justice and peace much closer. Amen. We now call upon Martha Kahn, the mother of our B'nai Mitzvah, for this Sabbath to come and lead us in Sabbath prayer. And we want to express to Shoshana's entire family, who may join her up here at the time, their patience and their indulgence in our crazy schedule this evening. I'll light these and you go ahead. Okay.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. Amen. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the lights of Shabbat. Amen.
Come, let us go to the mountain of the Lord, that we may walk the paths of the Most High. And we shall beat our swords into plowshares and our spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war any more. And none shall be afraid, for the mouth of the Lord of hosts has spoken. Isaiah chapter 2, verses 3 and 4.
What do we come together for? Do we come together out of hate, or out of bigotry, or out of love, out of kindness? Do we come together to hurt or to heal, to shout or to sing? We as Jews, as Christians, as Muslims, as people of faith, we come together to pray, to remind ourselves that when we gather, we raise ourselves up to pray to the one in whose image we are all created. And so we rise together for Baruch Hu. Please rise.
I read from the Gospel of Mark. You may be seated. Chapter 12. And one of the scribes came to him and asked him, "Which commandment is the first of all?" Jesus answered, "The first is, 'Hear, O Israel, the Eternal One is our God, the eternal God alone. And you shall love your eternal God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your mind, and with all your strength. And the second commandment is this: you shall love your neighbor as yourself. There is no other commandments greater than these."
We declare as one human family that God is one, and we are here to do God's holy work. We rise for the Shema. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed.
Love your neighbor as yourself. Ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. I invite you to join in this piece with me. The refrain will repeat enough, and it's pretty simple, so you will hopefully pick it up pretty quickly. We'll do it a few times to give you a chance to learn it. Ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. L'reacha kamocha. Ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. Ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha.
Each generation is challenged to pursue peace. Some meet that challenge better than others. If peace eludes us, we must ask if it is because of circumstances beyond our control or because our attitudes interfere with its realization. We work for peace when we believe it as an ideal. We gain the strength for peace by joining with others.
To those who claim that peace is not possible, we say, people who believe in nothing change nothing for the better. We must risk believing in peace and work for its achievement. This is our legacy from the past. This is our gift to the future.
Sing the song of men and women, joined in understanding and respect. The song of God's miracles, an earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and the generations to come. The song of a land once ravished by war, now quiet and content. Her soldiers home to leave no more. The song of a world redeemed, the song of peace.
Shalom Aleinu, Odyavo Shalom Aleinu, Odyavo Shalom Aleinu, Ve'akulam. Odyavo Shalom Aleinu, Odyavo Shalom Aleinu, Odyavo Shalom Aleinu, Ve'akulam. Odyavo again, Odyavo Shalom Aleinu, Odyavo Shalom Aleinu, Odyavo Shalom Aleinu, Ve'akulam. Odyavo Shalom Aleinu, Odyavo Shalom Aleinu, Odyavo Shalom Aleinu, Ve'akulam. Salam Aleinu ve'yako ha'olam. Salam, salam, salam Aleinu ve'yako ha'olam. Salam, salam. Odyavo Shalom Aleinu, Odyavo Shalom Aleinu, Odyavo Shalom Aleinu, Ve'akulam. Odyavo Shalom Aleinu, Odyavo Shalom Aleinu, Odyavo Shalom Aleinu, Ve'akulam.
We continue with prayers that are by tradition said standing, so please rise. Prayers for our ancestors, prayers praising God's might. Praise is our God, the God of our ancestors and of God of all ages and peoples. Please read with me. God led our mothers and fathers from darkness to light, from error to truth, from bondage to freedom. And God will lead us to more light, new truth, greater freedom. Praised is our God, the shield of Abraham and the helper of Sarah. We continue together, praising God's might. Great is the Eternal One's power, and great the power we have been given. God's Spirit speaks within us, saying, heal the sick, help the weak, care for the poor, free the captive, be true to your faith. Then we become a holy people, true children of the holy God. Praised is the Eternal, the Creator of life. Be seated.
Let there be love and understanding among us. Let
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. Praise be to the Lord of the universe, who has created us and made us into tribes and nations, that we may know each other, not that we may despise each other. If the enemy incline towards peace, do thou also incline towards peace, and trust in God, for the Lord is one that hears and knows all things. And the servants of God most gracious are those who walk on the earth in humility, and when we address them, we say, peace.
We join together in Shalom Rav, our prayer for peace. Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Yiratahu Melech Adon, Lecho HaShalom. Yiratahu Melech Adon, Lecho HaShalom. Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. V'tov b'einecha levarech et amecha Yisrael, v'choleich v'chosha b'shlomecha. Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Baruch atah Adonai, Hamevarech et Amo Yisrael b'shalom.
Pray for our country. May the time not be distant, O God, when all shall turn to you in love, when corruption and evil shall give way to integrity and goodness, when superstition shall no longer enslave the mind, nor idolatry blind the eye. O may all created in your image recognize that they are brethren, so that one in spirit and one in fellowship, they may be forever united in your service.
So this particular portion of our service is no formal liturgy, but it's really the liturgy of our lives and our own experience. We take a moment for pause. We take a moment for counting our blessings and thinking of all the things that are good in the week that's gone. We take that moment with gratitude, and we also take that moment to think about who we will be in the week to come. We take a moment for silent prayer. In our moments of silence, I want to take a moment to share a quick reflection. This week we'll turn our scrolls to Deuteronomy. And in the beginning it says, I place before you a blessing or a curse, which actually proves and disproves one particular thing, that we're not the chosen people, but we're a choosing people, all of us. The story is told of a mother whose son comes back and he's angry and is distraught by all the things that are going on. And he's so frustrated with going on, he can't stand the way people are treating him. And he goes and he stands at the end of their area where they live, which is a big open chasm, and he screams, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you. And amazingly, he's frightened because a voice comes back from across the space and says, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you. He runs scared and filled for it. And he says, Mom, it's true. Everything's against me. They all hate me. The mother realizes what's happened, sends the boy out again and says, I want you to stand on that edge. I want you to bow your head and think how beautiful life is. And I want you as loud as you can to say, I love you. I love you. I love you. He does. And for that young man, it's the same for each of us. When he stood on that edge and he said, I love you, coming back even stronger and louder were the words, I love you, I love you, I love you. Rei natati levanecha. I give you the choice of blessing or curse. This weekend, we will all stand on the abyss of the future. We know not what Sunday might or may not bring, but we know what we say in this world is what will come back to us in this world. God, give us the strength. I love you. I love you. I love you.
Stacy Zizek Robinson chose a blessing. She's a poet. Last year she saw the events of Charlottesville and she responded not with violence, not with hate, but with these beautiful words of poetry. If not now. Who would have strength to stand, truth to power, a tightrope walk against the wind, with no net below except for the hand of God?
Who would walk the road less traveled? The one of rocky crags and razor wire that curves into a perilous wood and still look up with hope.
Who would sing the song of dissonance when it is easier, far easier, to slip into the stream and be carried by its current?
Who would dare to demand justice, show mercy, offer comfort, shout defiantly? Who would love in the face of hate?
Who will stand now, if not for me? Who will rise now and march now and sing a song of freedom's call now? Who, if not for me?
Once more, and yet again, if not now, then when?
I invite you to join with me. If not now, tell me when. If not now, tell me when. We may never see this moment or place and time again. If not now, tell me when. 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 We may never see this moment or place in time again. If not now, if not now, tell me when. So we'll work until it's done. Every daughter, every son, every soul that's ever longed for something better, something brighter. It will take a change of heart for this to mend. It will take a change of heart for this to mend. But miracles do happen, every shining now and then. If not now, if not now, tell me when. If not now, tell me when. If not now, tell me when. But miracles do happen, every shining now and then. If not now, if not now, tell me when.
It's my pleasure now to call upon the president of our congregation, Nell Shapiro, to make a presentation.
Shabbat Shalom. Got it. And thank you all so much for being here. We're so thrilled to have so many members of our Temple community and the broader community here to celebrate this Shabbat of peace and to meet the planned events of this weekend with our shared values of faith, love, and acceptance. But at this moment in the service, I want to turn our attention to our bat mitzvah family of the weekend, the Kreisbergs, and share with all of you what I think is one of the great traditions of Washington Hebrew. Each Shabbat, we present to our B'nai Mitzvahs a Kiddush cup, which is the cup we use to bless the wine on Shabbat. This cup allows them to begin celebrating Shabbat as Jewish adults. This presentation is made possible by the generosity of the Cami Lauren Nathanson family, who chose to memorialize their daughter with this practice. To date, there have been more than 5,000 Cami Lauren Nathanson Kiddush cups presented to Washington Hebrew's B'nai Mitzvah, along with a certificate that tells her story. In brief, Cami was a young woman about the age of our bar mitzvah students who was very involved in youth group here at Temple. After she was tragically killed by a drunk driver, her family worked hard to change state laws so that kind of tragedy would not happen again. Our congregation is proud of the legacy of Cami Lauren Nathanson, and tonight, Shoshana, we want to let you know that we are also very proud of you. You can come up now if you want. And the accomplishment that your bat mitzvah represents. We hope that in the future, wherever you may be, you will use this Kiddush cup, which I will give you in a moment, and think of Washington Hebrew and the Jewish beginning that you had here. We also hope that you will think of Cami and the power of one individual to change lives. You have that power also. So let me get the Kiddush cup and invite you to lead us in prayer for the first time. Mazel tov to you and your whole family. I hope you have a wonderful celebration this weekend.
Praise you, anointed God, sovereign of the universe, creator of the fruit of the vine. Praise you, anointed God, sovereign of the universe, who finding favor with us, signifies us with mitzvot. And what in favor you made the holy Shabbat of heritage. As a reminder of the work of creation, as first among our sacred days, he recalls Exodus from Egypt. You chose us and set us apart from the peoples. And what in favor you have given us your holy Shabbat as an inheritance. Praise you, Adonai, who sanctifies Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh ha-Shabbat.
Beautiful. You can stay right here with us for 1 minute. Good job.
Please join us as we chant the Kiddush. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen.
Take a sip of that. Let Cantor take a sip, and we'll give you your cup right afterwards. Okay? We're now going to transition into a separate part of our service, which we're actually going to move into a vigil. And before we do that, I want to take a moment and thank a few people that have worked so incredibly hard to make all of this happen. I think at this time you should receive, did they receive a flashlight when they came in? You all got them? Okay, so we're ready to go. Don't turn them on yet. I want to personally thank the entire staff of Washington Hebrew Congregation who actually, we thought that this was going to be just a 7:30 vigil, and then things changed and plans changed, and we were so gracious that Eleanor Holmes Norton and Jamie Raskin gave us the opportunity to share in the teach-in today, which was quite extraordinary, and we want to thank you for that opportunity. But we also, as they are both people of great faith, they wanted us to be able to take a moment of prayer together as a community. In our tradition, in our congregation, every week we remind ourselves we have something that's called Yizkor. We remember. People come because they actually have the anniversary of a death, and we mark that anniversary of the death in our home by lighting a candle, and in our lives by coming and saying a particular prayer. A prayer that in fact never mentions death in its name, but extols life and extols God. So tonight we come together, and we collectively are going to remember not only the members of our congregation who passed in the years past at this time, not only the people who are in our congregation in what's called Shloshim, the last 30 days of their mourning, or the first 30 days of their mourning, excuse me, but also we remember individuals who lost their lives a year ago this weekend. And we will come together to give honor to memory and to commemorate and to stand for what we have done. We turn now to a song, V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha.
V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. Find yourself, bind yourself, give yourself to love. Heal yourself, seal yourself, give yourself with love.
We remember those who our community lost in years past. You'll see all of the names that our community is remembering today behind me on the screen, and I will read out loud those names that families have asked us as a community to read out loud and remember. Today, the Washington Hebrew community remembers Rose Asner, Rosa Backenheimer, David Barron, Sylvan Bensinger, Martha Bergner, Isidore Berkman, Celia Berlinski, Harry Bernstein, Marcel Betouin, Francis Brock, Julius Kaplan, Carrie C. Carroll, Harry I. Davidson, Albert DeMarco, Saul Drescher, Richard Dreisenstock, David Edlovich, Saul Ariza, Ruth S. Estrin, Edwin B. Feldman, David Frank, Cy Friedman, David Friedman, Joanne Geifman, Linda M. Gittleson, Samuel D. Gordon, Jenny Greenblatt, Melvin Gusdorf, Rose Herman, Evelyn Hotchkiss, Helen M. Katzenberg, Charles Kaufman, Sarah Sue Kaufman, William Karos, Bernard Kilsheimer, Jacob Kornhauser, Renee Kraft, Max P. Kranz, Henry B. Kreisman, Stanley Landsberg, Dr. David Lazaro, Max Lachey, A. Ross Lerner, Marion Minkoff Lerner, Ernest M. Levin, Dorothy Lux, Benjamin Monzak, Patricia Montel, Moses A. Morris, Claire Nath, Morton H. Oppenheim, Ella Oppenheimer, Arthur G. Parkett, Sally R. Rich, Paula M. Ring, Albert Rosenblum, Bessie Rosenblum, Rachel C. Rudolph, Lawrence Sack, Marvin Sitter, Irvin A. Schloss, Gertrude Schwartz, Marla Joan Schwartz, Alvin Silverman, Geraldine Sitrick, Jacob Z. Slavin, Irvin A. Schloss, Warren Stark, Mamie Sterling, the Honorable Burton Sternberg, Benjamin Stratton, Robert Skip Tash, Frank Wallace, Sidney Weinreb, Joshua Weinstein, Fanny M. Weisberg, Harlan L. Weiss, Esther Wheeler, David Wise, Jerry Woolman, Nettie Jelinek, Robert Birchman, and Benjamin Lebowitz.
We remember on this evening especially those individuals who tragically lost their lives a year ago. Remember Trooper Burke M. Bates, Lieutenant H. J. Cullen, and of course, Heather Heyer. And we remember in our congregation those individuals who recently been laid to rest: Barbara Barban, Harold Horowitz, Arnie Horowitz, William Landis, Terry Ledley, Joan Levine, Robert Lurie, Rose Paul, Phyllis Perkin, Anita Weinstein, and Nancy Zeidman. We rise now together for a Kaddish Yitom. Rabbi, you're up.
Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayachon uvyomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'yimru. Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam u'lalmei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudasha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'yimru. Amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'yimru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'yimru. Amen. Zichronom livracha, may their memory be for a blessing.
We ask that you remain standing.
Bind yourself, give yourself to love. Heal yourself, seal yourself, give yourself with love.
Merge your poem. And then all that was divided us will merge. And then compassion will be wedded to power. And then softness will come to your world that is harsh and unkind. And then both men and women will be gentle. And then both women and men will be strong. And then no person will be subject to another's will.
And then all will be rich and free and varied, and the greed of some will give way to the needs of many. And then all will share equally in the earth's abundance, and then all will care for the sick and the weak and the old. And then all will nourish the young, and then all will cherish life's creatures. And then everywhere will be called Eden once again.
I ask that you rise for a moment. The human heart is an altar on which all sorts of passions are aflame. We can turn them into raging fires of evil or the light of goodness. To extinguish the destructive fires of evil is to exclaim that we are one human family, committed to extinguishing destruction once and for all.
Here is hatred. Let it be extinguished. Hatred seizes on the heart and corrupts it. Its light is a searing blaze, consuming the spirit and destroying all that is good. Let the light of hatred of God
be extinguished.
Here's racism, let it be quenched. Racism perpetuates the false belief that some are made above the other. Racism's light is a blinding light, keeping us from seeing the divinity in all beings. Let the light of racism, O God, be quenched.
Here is indifference. Let it be put out. Indifference ignites the flame. It is slow-burning embers of apathy that create a world in which hatred and racism can live. Let the light of indifference of God be quenched. Hatred, racism, indifference, may darkness possess them. May their consuming fires be removed forever from the world.
The remaining lights is the light of courage. It takes the courage it takes to put out these light, the courage to stand up to hatred and racism, the courage to act when others stay indifferent. The light of courage exists within each of us. Our flames build together when we act together. Let the light of courage, O God, burn bright.
We light a second candle, the light of compassion. Compassion is a driving force that allows us to see the holiness in the other. In Hebrew, compassion, rachamim, comes from the same root as racham, womb. We light this light and declare that we all come from one source. We are all part of this human family.
Let the light of compassion, O God, burn bright.
And we light a third candle, the light of love. You have commanded us, O God, to love your neighbor as yourself. We look to our left and to our right this evening and find this commandment easy to behold. As we go out into the world, however, this love will be tested. As we light this light, we declare that even if we are approached by hate, we will start with love.
Let the light of love, O God, burn bright. Courage, compassion, and love, may these flames ever illumine our path and guide us. Guardian of grace and humanity, may we not lose our way. Together, may our light of goodness burn forever bright, and through our deeds, may we kindle the light in others. You may be seated.
Teenagers today are asked so unfortunately to grow up more quickly than they might have otherwise, whether it's through gun violence, through the disintegration of civility in our politics, and in this weekend, white supremacists marching down our city's capital. How is a child to make sense of all of this? Zoe Abel, one of our confirmands from this past year, wrote a reading, a reflection on the many tragedies that she as a child is facing in these times that we all face, and wrote a reflection titled Thoughts and Prayers, where she asks the question that we all ask this evening. What happens? What happens when words fall short?
Thoughts and prayers. We've all heard this phrase repeatedly over the past few weeks, months, and years.
Sending my thoughts and prayers. It has become the normalized response to every school shooting, every hate crime, every natural disaster. Thoughts and prayers do not feed the hungry, heal the sick, or speak for those who have no voice.
Offering thoughts and prayers after tragedies has become so common that it's become a mode of performative sympathy and inaction. What are thoughts and prayers without actions and deeds?
Our prayer for peace states, "Let us not be content, O God." This phrase is especially meaningful in today's world. The prayer is informing us not to be complacent in saying prayers. We cannot just believe that prayer will heal the world.
It is our actions and not our words that will bring peace to the world. It is our actions in addition to our expressions of faith that will allow us to truly make a difference. It is our duty as human beings not to be content with just our thoughts and prayers, but to add actions and deeds. Indeed.
So at this time begins our real vigil. The question asks, what will be your action? We collectively, as leaders and as men and women of this community, DC, which in my mind stands for diverse community, we ask that you think now of what your actions will be this weekend to bring peace, to bring harmony, to bring love. And when you've decided upon that action, I ask that you stand and light your light as we will join together as one community. Whenever you've picked your deed, light your light and rise. It is our hope and our prayer that every dream, every vision, every imagination that stands in these lit candles, that this light will dispel the darkness that others seek to bring. Let us read Judy Chicago's last line together. And then everywhere will be called Eden once again. May it be God's will. You may be seated. I know I have Matt and Nat who are going to join me. It is a tradition in our congregation, because in a few moments, since we've kept you in this room, some of you since 3 o'clock, that we're going to go to a festive oneg and we bless our bread. And so I ask that Nat and Matt, who are coming up, who are very small tykes themselves, I see, come up. I usually have 3rd and 4th graders who do this, so I'm a little surprised there. Are you just here with OUDC? Oh, cool. Turn around. I want to tell you these gentlemen are in a program that I'm most proud of in this congregation. They're in a program called Operation Understanding. For the next 12 months, these individuals, Jews and African Americans, will work to learn the history of each other, to stand for justice, and to stand for blessing. Have you taken your trip already?
Yeah, we just got that.
Oh my goodness. They just did the Civil Rights Trail. It's awesome. I know this personally because my daughter was transformed. She was in last year's class. We are very proud that Rabbi Weinberg and members of our congregation were part of the initiating start of Operation Understanding. So every week our children come up for a challah that's been baked for our children, and we say our blessing together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Ooh, nice job, gentlemen. Now, they're going to take this, they're going to divide this up out there, and what's really important, this hash for the congregation. I'm so proud that members of Operation Understanding have joined us because, in all honesty, they're the most important leaders that are in this room, because the yesterdays that we have labored to build are going to be their tomorrows, and they are our future leaders. I want to take a moment just to, before we conclude, to graciously thank once again Congressperson Eleanor Holmes Norton, not just for what she did for today, but what she does every day. She has stood in this city tirelessly, endlessly, calling for justice and equality for all. She is a profound leader in so many ways, in the spiritual community, in the political community, and in the human family community. We celebrate you and we thank you, Eleanor, for being our example. Thank you. And to Congressman Jamie Raskin, who does not mind calling a rabbi in Israel despite the 7 hours difference. Jamie had an idea, and he wanted to run it by. He asked if we would partner. He wanted to respond in some way and partner with Eleanor Holmes Norton and do something profound and radical. Because as he spoke, and for those who didn't hear, this is our Constitution to defend, and this is our America. And Jamie, I thank you for giving us the honor for participating in this, but more, I thank you for the voice that you have in our government and for the work that you do every day. And we only hope you go from strength to strength. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, there are people on this bima who are ministers and members of the Interfaith Conference, members of ADL, and members of the Jewish Community Council Relations. We thank them. We partnered with them. And I want you to know that we are so honored to share in this opportunity. And as I was reminded, we will join together in September, as we do every year, because we have our Unity Walk, which will begin here and takes place all the way down Massachusetts Avenue. That will be on, Jerry, I lost that piece of paper, the September 16th. And then if you missed that, be sure to come Thursday, November 29th for our beautiful interfaith concert, which we have here. But Jerry, I want to single you out and thank you and the IFC for all the work that you do each and every day. I ask that and again, I would like Steve Jacover to just wave in the back. This is a man who's our executive director. And I want to thank him because he never knows how to say no. And to a rabbi like me, that's very important. With the high holidays coming so soon, with everything going on, he did not shy in any way from taking our staff and doing what we needed to do by bringing our community together. And I want to thank each and every one of you. I ask you to rise now, to hold your candles high. We're going to sing an old folk song. We're going to end, and I ask that you hold with everybody and do this. I want to celebrate Shoshana, who will remember, and I've heard her speech. You should all come to her bat mitzvah tomorrow because she gives the best speech of what tomorrow and this weekend really means. But Shoshana, we celebrate you. We congratulate your mother and father and your brother for this opportunity and for all the work that they have always done in our community. It just happens that Simeon is a past president of the Interfaith Conference, and Martha and her family and Simeon's family have been stalworthy members of our community, always fighting for what's right. So let us end with this beautiful song, and let us all join together. Ladies and gentlemen, today was a very meaningful day for all of us. For me, it was a very personal day of meaning. I'm a first-generation American. I'm the child of a Holocaust survivor. My mother, at 9 years old, was told to wear a yellow star on her clothes so she could be recognized as a stranger in her town, even though her family had lived in Germany for more than 400 years. She was lucky, and I was given life because she was given refuge here in America. My mother watched the news last summer, and all she could think of was her childhood in the 1930s in Germany. And ever since, she came to me and said to me, "You cannot," pointing that finger as only a Jewish mother can. I wasn't only a rabbi, but more importantly, I was her son. She said, "You cannot stand by idly. You must teach, you must speak, you must combat hate with truth and with justice." So today is personal. We say no to bigotry. We say no to hatred. And we say yes to inclusivity, to dignity of difference, to America built on love and compassion. We've got a song to sing. We have a job to do. God give us the strength. And may this Sabbath be a Sabbath of peace, harmony, and love for all humanity, but also for those who live in this region and who will face this Sunday's challenges. May God bless. Adonai yishmor tzeitecha uvecha me'ata v'ad olam. God guard our coming and our going this day and every day. And let us say together, Amen. Shabbat Shalom. Please join us for a festive oneg.